could hear the crowd. I couldn't see the crowd, and I think that was actually perfect for me. You don't want to anticipate any laughs. I mean, I'm a pretty modest person. I'd say I'm definitely more a writer than a performer.
So say we all!
When I hear, try it, you might like it, two things come to mind. You're either a parent trying to get your kid to eat asparagus, or you're trying to stick something up your partner's ass. 80% of the time, it's one of those two things. It's asparagus or ass. This is especially tricky in relationships. Here's this thing I already like doing. I want you to try it with me. I want you to enjoy this thing I enjoy. So we end up doing things out of love and the spirit of togetherness, but also guilt and fear of missing out. Even things that don't really appeal to us, we get talked into. Taste this Thai curry. It's hotter than a Carolina Reaper. Sit next to me on the roller coaster. It goes 95 miles an hour. You might like it, or you might vomit. Because there's no guarantee with might. If what you want to try is so great, why aren't you already doing it? I dated a vegetarian once. She never pressured me, but my love for her made me a little quinoa curious. Try it, she said. And over the next year, I lost so much weight that my doctor thought I had lupus. I told the doctor, as soon as we break up, I'm going to eat so many hamburgers. A few years ago, this is a different girlfriend, many, many hamburgers later, I was convinced to do something I've spent most of my life avoiding. I went camping. Now, here's the thing, if you know me at all. I kind of hate nature. It's pretty to look at, but I don't really appreciate it. Where other people see purple mountain majesties and fruited plains, I see mosquitoes and dirt and Lyme disease. I'm also allergic to grass and trees, probably bears. I've never been tested. And if I'm being honest, I'm not really crazy about heights. But here's the real thing. I am not comfortable with the idea of shitting outdoors. Not where people picnic. Not where Girl Scouts collect butterflies. This is the kind of savage behavior you'd expect from someone who has never attended a fancy cotillion. I have. I can waltz, I can foxtrot. So some friends proposed a camping trip, and I said, I'd think about it, which is essentially polite code for no. I am absolutely not going camping with you. But my girlfriend said, try it. You might like it. And I felt like it was something I had to do. Everybody was stunned that I'd never been camping, that I had zero interest in sleeping in a zippered bag on a pile of rocks when it's 30 degrees outside and there's bears. I mentioned it to some friends at work, and almost immediately, there's two office pools going. The first one is, will Scott actually go camping? The second one is, will he make it back alive? And they're taking money on this. They're placing bets. After 2 hours, my odds did not look good. I was never a Boy Scout, so I guess I've spent most of my life not being prepared. And by not being prepared, I mean specifically to shit outdoors. Because everybody in my tribe, we love indoor plumbing. That Yeats poem, "The Center Cannot Hold," I feel like that applies to anything less than 2-ply toilet paper. My ex-wife heard I was going camping. She called me up. She gave me an, "Oh, really?" We were together 10 years, and before we got married, we had a conversation about things we weren't comfortable with. Hers was a well-known, try it, you might like it, that does not involve asparagus. Don't ask, she said, not even if it's your birthday. Fine, I said. Don't ask me to go camping. So now it was finally time for me to make peace with the wilderness, and I only agreed because it was going to be a quick trip. We'd leave early Saturday morning, drink beer, read books, make dinner, leave Sunday. And the people we were going with were born campers. They had all the equipment, so there was nothing really to buy except for alcohol, food, bear spray, and a shit shovel. I didn't even know that was a thing, a shit shovel. But I'd already said yes. I did some Googling. I'm an amateur camper headed to the Mogollon Rim for the first time. I may as well know what I'm up against. I did a keyword search, and the first thing that pops up is top 10 amateur rim job videos. I watched that for about 40 minutes. I felt like I was prepared for anything. We had a caravan. It was 5 cars long, 2 hours on the highway, 1 hour over rocky, unmarked terrain. My girlfriend drove, and at some point she turned off NPR, and she asked me if I wanted to read aloud from one of the books I brought. Sure, I said. I've got Deliverance by James Dickey, and Ordeal by Hunger, the story of the Donner Party. She thought about it for a minute, and she turned the radio back on. The moment we got to the rim, everyone gets out of the car and runs, literally runs, to eat their lunch at the edge of the world. And it's a sheer drop. I hung back at a safe distance, and by that I mean I stayed in the car with my seatbelt on. I wanted to be close to the horn in case the bears came. And once we started drinking, people kept wandering off to pee in the wilderness, and not everyone was an experienced camper. So what kept happening was this. Somebody, there were 5 women, 2 men, somebody would say, I have to pee. And they'd walk about 20 feet away and say, can you guys see me? Well, it's completely flat where we are. You can see for miles in every direction. They'd walk a few more feet. Can you see me now? And they'd start to crouch, and the rest of us would yell and wave at them to stop. Now, eventually, I had to pee, and I know, I have it easy. All I have to do is turn around and unzip my pants. So I excused myself from the group, and I walked over to the rim. And I looked down, and I saw something that chilled my blood. It was a single athletic shoe, just a few feet from the edge. A single shoe. I started looking around for what? I don't know. Another shoe? A note? Skeletal remains? Whoever used to be in that shoe, maybe it was his first time camping. Maybe it was his last. But nature is all about survival of the fittest. And I'm not proud of this. But I backed away from the rim, and I managed to fill that shoe up about halfway. I'd had quite a bit to drink at this point. Then we put our tents together. There were 4 of them. And it was time to build a fire, which involves finding rocks and stacking them in a circle. And while we ate dinner, the experienced campers all talked about their most thrilling camping adventures. One of them had a story about hypothermia. If you have hypothermia, you need another person's body heat to stay warm. So everyone takes off their clothes, and it's like the 1970s all over again. Looking around the campfire, you could tell we were all thinking the same thing. This is not the group of people I would choose to have hypothermia with. Eventually, we went to sleep in our tents, but I was restless because the stars were so bright, and every 45 minutes, someone would walk by our tent to pee. If anybody had hypothermia, they were keeping it to themselves. And all night, I had crazy dreams. The one dream that wasn't about bears was about a guy in our group who couldn't find one of his shoes. I must have left it over by the rim while we were eating lunch. It was fitful sleeping out there in nature. And in the morning, I woke up and instinctively felt for my throat to make sure it was intact. And then my girlfriend woke up and she said she'd gotten very cold in the middle of the night, and she kept trying to get close to me to warm up, but I kept fighting her off. I told her, I probably thought you were a bear. And as we joined everyone else for breakfast, I had a whole interior monologue with myself. Was it okay if I didn't shit in the woods? Isn't camping really the tent, the sleeping bags, the s'mores? Hadn't I done that? Or by not shitting in the woods, had I failed to fully embrace the wilderness experience? Had I let anybody down? Will my girlfriend be disappointed? Meanwhile, people kept wandering off to use the bathroom. Sorry, the outdoors. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm good. I've got this. I was talking to my lower intestines like they're Sylvester Stallone in Rocky III, and my morning bowel movement is Mr. T. This is a real Eye of the Tiger situation I'm in. This is real live Eye of the Tiger. Except I didn't have to go. So it was clear I was never going to be a born camper. But barring any sudden gastrointestinal distress, I was just going to go to the bathroom when I got home. It was kind of anticlimactic, to be honest. We left a little earlier than our friends, which wasn't a big deal. We just thanked everybody, loaded up the car, said goodbye. Nobody called me out for not using the shit shovel. A couple of weeks later, I ran into one of the experienced campers, and he asked me if I'd had a good time, and I said, yeah, I honestly had. And he asked me if I was thinking about coming camping again, maybe for a 3-day trip. And I paused for a minute, and I said, I'd think about it. And he said, really? And I said, no.
Scott Krause.